Hello and welcome to another video for WinBidPro v16 by GDS Estimating. This is going to be a continuation of the stops and adapters kind of video I did earlier, but this is also going to cover operable windows because there's the actual operable windows you can add to your drawing, and then there's the actual adapters that you can add to the opening that contains the operable window. So that will be covered in this video. So here we have an operable window tab at the bottom, and it doesn't really matter what manufacturer we're using here, but this is Old Castle. And I have a simple elevation, and basically we're adding operable windows to any daylight opening. So we want our daylight openings to be set and ready to accept an operable window. And at this point, we're treating operable windows kind of like a generic thing that we're filling a hole with. So we're not building an operable window, let's say. We're just adding an operable window in its certain hinge format and shape to an opening. And then you can actually price that and add part numbers for it manually to the reports and things like that. So right now we're working primarily on the drawing aspect of it, getting the sizing right, letting you add glass to it, and then the rest is kind of up to you. But it's a big improvement over doing nothing. So here we are in the operable window tab. We can add and delete, and the main thing is we can add to templates and pick a template for an operable window. So we click that button there. It opens up our little template window. And this template is for your GDS account in general. So it doesn't matter what manufacturer, catalog, what job you're in, you're going to see the same list of operable windows that you've created. And here's a good sized list, but we can see what it's like to add a new one. So we're going to say vent awning window for the description, and then we're going to say for the label, we'll just call it awning. So that can be whatever you want. Label's going to show up on the drawing when you add it to the drawing, and the description is very helpful when you're picking it from the list. And it'll also show that in your report that gives you a list of your operable windows. I'll show you that later. So now we pick the type. So you can either have hinged, hung, or sliding. So we tried to cover all the bases here. I'm going to say hinged since this is awning. And then the profiles just defaults to 1 inch, but you can say it's 1.5 inches, whatever you think it needs to be. And it's going to draw that to scale on your drawing, so you want it to be correct. And if there is a gap that's required around the opening, then you're going to want to specify that. Let's just say it's 1/4 inch for the width and height deduct. So that's the overall deduction. So that would be 1/8 on each side all around. And let's say I just want one panel. I can have multiple panels. I can have a fixed panel next to a operable panel. I can have a fixed panel in between two operable panels. So all those options are available here. And again, that's going to give you the correct look on the drawing. So in this case, I'm going to say it's a top hinged single light window. So I'm going to save that, and then it's adding it to our list. I can actually sort this however I want, just like a regular grid in the program. So now I'm going to add this to the job. So this is my template list, and then this is the list of operable windows I'm adding to my job. So in this case, I am going to click on that in the list. If there's multiple ones, I can obviously place whichever ones in which opening I want. And I'm in an add action, so wherever I click on the drawing, it's going to add it, right? So I'm going to add one there and one there. So if I wanted to delete one, I just click the delete action, and then it removes it. But let's go ahead and say we want 2 of them. So top hinge, there's that word awning, the name, the label I gave it. And if I zoom in, let's click off of here so that it knows. We'll see that 1/8 inch gap around it. So now we've basically created what it needs to look like, right, on the drawing. So the next step is, if I need specific adapters to adapt that daylight opening for an operable window, that's where we go to our stops adapters tab, and that's where we go to edit add options, and that's where we work specifically on this. The last video I did on stops covers glass stops, which are just for holding glass into an opening, but this is actually for adapting operable windows. So there's 2 steps to this. The first step is adding the actual option. So option 1 would be, we'll just call it opwin number 1. And we need to tell it what type of, whether it's a stop or an operable window adapter. We're going to go with the operable window adapter. If it's the same on all sides, I can pick that, but we can have specific for either horizontal or vertical. I can have different adapters for the horizontal sides than for the vertical sides, and so on. Or individually, I can have one adapter. So a lot of variability there. And then also we have make this the default for all the operable windows in this job. And if the adapters are interrupted in a certain way, I can say I want the verticals continuous, which means the horizontals go in between. So now it's a matter of, this is the configuration for the adapters, but now we need the actual part. So I want to hit add new. I could also click the little plus sign over here, but we let you do it from this list as well. So now in this case, if my adapter has a 1/4 inch profile, I'm telling it what the profile of my adapter is. If there's no profile, I can obviously leave that as 0, but you can specify whatever it is. And then I would put a part number in if I want that extrusion, if that's something I need to cut in my cut list. And I'm just going to type in the word adapter here. And I guess Oldcastle doesn't have any. I'm just going to call it a stop for now. So I'm just going to pick a part. But you can always obviously add a part if it's something that's not in the catalog, but you need to buy it. Maybe they don't list it in their catalog. You can add the part yourself just by clicking the plus sign. But I'm just going to pick a part that's already there. That way we've got our completed kind of process here where I have a part with a profile. I have an option for how it's configured, and then I can save that to this job. So now that I've saved that to this job, I should be able to zoom in, and actually let me get back to this. So my adapters are in yellow. So you'll notice I've got a 1/4 inch adapter all around. My verticals run continuous, horizontals in between. So that's all inside the daylight opening of the actual framing system that the window's going in. So you'll also notice that the gap I specified, which was 1/4 inch width and height, which was an 1/8 inch on each side, is still there. So I just changed the size of my operable window by adding the adapter. And again, I could have made that adapter a 0 profile if I wanted, but that's what it looks like when it's got a profile. So now everything's done. We've got our adapter part number that's going to get included in the cut list. We've got the look of our hinged operable window, our awning window, and then now we can actually go to a report, and we can view a report for operable windows. It's going to show that I have 2. Mark A1 is actually the elevation that the window's in. It's got the description of it, and it's got the size. And like I say, that size is determined by the gap that I specified and the adapter size. So that's going to give us our window size. So that's one report there. I can print it or I can export it. And then the other report is the print view of the same, basically the same report. And this is what it would look like if you had, especially if you have multiple windows, same thing, size, It's got the elevation. I guess it doesn't have the description in this report, but so you could do either one, and that's basically everything there is to Operable Windows. So you can configure your own to look the way they need. It can be a slider, it can be hung, or it can be hinged, and hinge left, right, top, bottom, all that. So you can get the look you want. You can change the colors in the settings, layer settings. There's a whole section for Operable Windows right here. So the frame color for the window, the swing indicator, the glass when that's added. Oh yeah, let's go ahead and add glass. So now, if I don't have any glass in this job, I can add some. Let's say it's tempered. Oh, let's just say it's 1-inch blue. So we're going to add that glass by row, and then basically that would add it to the lights, or add it to those windows. And you'll notice, we're going to fix this later, but it covered up the label for the actual window, so we're going to make it so that it shows both. But that's a small little tweak we need to make. But then you can add different glass down to the rest of the elevation, of course, but that should show a different label here. So that's it. You can add your glass to it. That should be the correct size if your frame size is correct, and you can always adjust that profile in your template. And then your frame size is also determined by your gap and your adapter profile. So all that should give you what you need, and you just need to add pricing and your part numbers for it from your manufacturer to your reports. So you can do that in the final parts report, where you can manually add parts. That's probably the best way to do it. So that's it for now. Keep your eyes open for more videos. Thanks.